Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. How are you? Today is June 17, 2025. On the Evening Rush, we discuss issues across Nigeria's socio, economic and political landscape, issues that affect every segment of Nigeria's polity. And the pattern of the program, or the concept, or the synopsis of the program is that we bring to light some of these issues that generated quite the conversation or quite the buzz across several forums and across several demography. And then we bring in, recommendations, criticisms as well, give out key pointers. You can never tell who is listening to the conversation that we have here. Possibly they can take one or two ideas from your reactions, from your criticism, or even from the analysts, especially analysts who are various experts in their field. And, they give us a logical conclusion or a logical conversation to the topics discussed. Currently on Voice of the People 90.3 FM, we're known as a station that gives you a voice. We try to dissect the facts. We see the facts from the conspiracy theories, but we also ask questions that projects the intention and the questions that you would like to ask anyone, specifically those are the executive or those who are in various capacity to do what they need to do in being responsible to the people they govern. That's basically what we ask here. We also try to help ourselves conceptualize and break down some complications or ambiguities in some of the issues being discussed, especially when it relates to law and also when it relates to social issues. That's what we do right here on Voice of the People. So if you've been following our pattern, if you've been following our train of conversations right here, it may seem like it's usually politically centered, but I have told you and explained to you that politics is actually the bane of every sector of Nigeria's polity. There's politics in everything that we do, and some of the policies and political conversations and implementation affects every other aspect of living. So that's why it feels like most times our conversations are politically centered. Once again, my name is Esther Wachuku. You can actually go onto our YouTube channel at VOP903 FM to be virtually part of the conversation. For all of you who will be celebrating today being June 17, today's your birthday, I wish you a happy birthday. I pray that the Lord Almighty continues to strengthen you, grant your heart desire, protects you and your loved one and your family members, and that may the month of June give you abundant blessings and wisdom beyond your anticipation, and whatever opportunity it is you're looking for, the Lord Almighty has granted it to you. Now, let's kick off officially. For example, obviously, we'll definitely have to talk about the situation in Benue. We'll continue to have updates on that. Now, in Benue State, for example, tomorrow, the president will officially be visiting the state to assess the killings that recently took place there. One of the things that the state government has decided to do was to ensure that tomorrow is being declared as a public holiday for the residents of Benue State to wholesomely welcome the president there. Now, you know that the president's visit in Benue State was amidst several calls and backlashes from Nigerians alike, specifically right here in Nigeria, and obviously Nigerians in diaspora, including the reaction from the international communities to ask that the president show some form of empathy towards the killings and insecurity bedeviling so many axes across the federation. That obviously is basically one of the updates that has taken place today. Now, the chief of defense staff in the same response has actually suggested that there should be a vigilante committee or a set of persons who will serve as vigilantes. They need to be trained. Now, I recall the last time when the youth decided to take it upon themselves, they were stripped away from some arms that they had. And sometimes there are allegations that when the youth decide to take it upon themselves to protect themselves, then you now see the armed forces or the security personnel come, round them off, take them away from their vicinity, and also take the arms away from them. So in most instances, they are obviously without any form of armor to protect the community. Also, the governor of the state has alleged that there are certain political actors who are feeling the situation, the crisis or the insecurity in Benue State. He alleged that there are some persons who possibly because they wanted to be in the fold of what is going on in Benue State, and because they've been put away from it, they have been isolated and sidelined. This is their way of rebuffing, of giving a rebuttal to the governor, not paying attention to them, making it seem like if you do not include us, we'll make the state ungovernable for you. Now, the question question is, before now, the governor had actually come out to tell us that there were certain persons, but he did not mention their names. And Nigerians said, if you want to rout out evil, why don't you call out evil for what it is? Why cover it up? Why give a general statement without being specific? If you want this menace to stop, then you need to call out these individuals. And then if nothing is done, then you know you've done your best. But he didn't mention any name. But in a rebuttal or to counter the statement he made, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who obviously comes from Benue State, reprimanded the state governor for making such a statement. He said, if you know such persons, why don't you mention them? You would also recall that there was a pro-government protest in Benue, having to discountenance the thoughts and statement made by some residents that possibly the administration has left Benue State behind when it comes to insecurity. Well, there are some pro-supporters, pro-persons for this government who organized a protest. And so the question is, where are these individuals who were hailing the government of the day when this mayhem and atrocity happened 2 days ago? Well, you know that all the security chiefs currently are in Benue. The IGP, the Chief of Defense Staff, they all went there on an assessment visit. And I'm sure they'll be there as well for the president going to make his appearance there tomorrow. So, aside from that particular conversation, the House of Rep has called out and actually refused lawmakers. They halted the president's attempt to appoint new Rivers Electoral Commission chair. So the big question is, as it stands right now, it almost feels like the sole administrator in Rivers State is serving in a military capacity. It's just like a military officer, but wearing a civilian garb to administer the state. A state that is under state of emergency, you have a sole administrator. The House of Rep members and the Legislative Committee has been dissolved. Why would you want to appoint a resident electoral commissioner or supposed RCEC chair in the state when the governor has not resumed? Is it constitutional? So obviously this was what the Senate decided to look into. They halted the president's nomination of Michael Ekpai as chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, citing constitutional concerns over his eligibility. Ekpai is a retired official of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and he appeared before the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Emergency Rule in Rivers State for screening today. So the lawmakers raised concerns about his state of origin, questioning whether a non-indigent could legally head a state electoral body. But that was not the question that Nigerians wanted the lawmakers to ask. The lawmakers were meant to check on the constitution if it is legally binding for the president to make that particular imposition or nomination for the House of Rep members of the lawmakers to pass through when the state is still under a state of emergency and under the whims and caprices of a sole administrator. There is no legally represented constitution House of Rep members to do what you call a proper check and balance of what the governor is instituting in the state, his spending, and whatever policies he's implementing. There is no constituted panel. The only one is the ad hoc committee, 22 ad hoc committee members in the House of Assembly, that's in the Senate, who are supposed to check what he does, right? So why do you want to make a recommendation for an INEC chair? And Nigerians are saying this is part of the constitutionality that the president has preferred, which they feel that he says he's a Democrat, but sometimes he doesn't express or acts like one who has fought for democracy in this country or give democracy a chance to actually thrive. And Bode George was also of that note that the president has truncated democracy. Well, we'll see how that particular situation goes. That is not the only thing as well. There is a push to replace Shetima, and there are talks about the fact that it has actually gotten intense. All right. So the thing is, 3 northern APC governors are debating the vice president's fate. They say that he doesn't have that political vibrancy to enable the second term win or the second term clinch in 2027 for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And they're trying to look for another person that could give them that political leeway or that vibrancy for them to get the kind of support that is required. They feel that Kashim Shettima is not doing enough to express his supposed loyalty or deliver his constituents. Now, Nigerians were like, we already know the antecedents of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was governor of Lagos State. But the question is, the president hasn't said anything in that capacity, but there are proponents who are actually making that statement that there's a possibility that the president may not run with Kashim Shettima, which was what caused the imbroglio on Sunday when the Northeastern House of Rep members and senators and all of the APC members gathered. Obviously, you know, they attacked Ganduje. Governor Zulum tried to create that kind of sense of normalcy and calm, but it was a chaotic scenario scenario which all of us already are aware of. Now, Mahmoud Yakub is also not let out in what is going on right now in Nigeria's politics. So the court has ordered a substituted service on INEC chairman over contempt charge. This is not the first time they're actually calling out Mahmoud Yakub over contempt of court. So a federal high court sitting in Abuja granted an order for substituted service of Form 48. It's a notice of contempt proceedings on the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakub. Now, the ruling was delivered today by Justice Obiora Ewatu, followed by an ex parte motion filed by the National Rescue Mission, alleging that INEC and its chairman disobeyed a valid court order issued earlier this year. The NRM, through its legal team led by Mr. Oladimeji Ekemba, told the court that INEC had failed to comply with a judgment delivered on March 5, 2025, which directed the commission to recognize the outcome of the party's emergency national convention, which was held on January 17. The party is actually saying that they've been trying to serve the INEC chair, but most times they are met with heavy security at the INEC headquarters in Abuja, meaning that he has refused to be served the court's order and that it's deliberate and that could lead to contempt of court. So that's a scenario that Nigerians are actually reacting to. But it is quite fundamental to say this. If you remember, after the 2023 elections, INEC chair Mahmoud Yakub had been told to present those who were involved in several electoral malfeasance and malpractice across all the zones in the Federation, all the areas where malfeasance and electoral malpractices were conducted, where there were video evidence to prove that the INEC officials were involved in mutilating election results, inflating election results, and all whatnot. And until now, he has not been able to present these individuals. INEC chair had actually said that it was not his fault. It was a fault of the court that they delayed. No, the fault of the court delaying in the process, meaning that for him, he's ready to present what needs to be presented and the person's presented, but that there's some political bureaucracy involved. So the question is, are you saying that it is not within your ambit to present these individuals without certain influences from certain persons in the polity? Is that the question? Or is it that you've been asked to make sure that this thing is not brought up? And in that particular regard, INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakub had actually been served contempt of court. This thing I am telling you was 3 or 4 months ago. This was about the 2023 elections. Now, a disciplinary panel has not been set up. The proceeding has not commenced as a prosecution against this electoral offenders, specifically INEC ad hoc staff members that worked in the 2023 general elections. And now this is another contempt of court charge. So, again, how does this affect our institutions, vital institutions that is responsible for Nigerians' independence to choose their democratically elected leaders if they cannot obey simple court orders? I actually have joining me via the telephone Barrister Eze Eluche, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. Barrister Eze Eluche will be responding to some questions. And physically here as well, I have Mr. Lawal Ekundayo, who will also be giving us his own aspect in buttressing some of the issues that will be discussed here. Mr. Lawal, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Barrister Eze Eluche, good evening. Thank you for joining us today on the Evening Rush. How are you, sir?
Thank you for having me on.
All right, you're welcome. Barrister Eze, let's look at the situation, for example, in Benue State. I know that most media houses have been having a conversation about it, but we're having updates. So we're having updated information. For example, the governor is telling us that there are political undertones of the insecurity ravaging the communities in the state. And he said that some major stakeholders, as well as the disunity within the APC in Benue, is what is responsible for some of the challenges confronting the state. The governor, in a very calm tone, he wasn't apprehensive, also responded by saying that there are some political actors who feel because they've not been part of what is going on, that is the inner caucus of conversations being had and decisions being made about the state, that they're the ones causing the imbroglio within the state with what is the terrorist attack and the persons being killed. Secondly, apparently the attack that happened recently seemed to be very coordinated because obviously this, according to the Chief of Defense Staff, who is currently in Benue, he said that the kind of intel these individuals had could only come from the community members. Barrister Eze, what do you have to say about this?
Well, thank you very much. I must repeat that it is rather unfortunate efforts to politicize this whole killings, this whole genocide going on in the Middle Belt. I also refer to it as being undertaken by some politicians or whatever is quite unfortunate. And then without mentioning the politicians, I mean, you cannot just be playing politics with people's lives, with communities' lives. This is not the first time this government has made a statement without making mention of anybody. Who is he afraid of? What really is going on? And this part of the chief of defense staff, all of them are there now. Their presence there will cause a distraction. Because the reality is that the committee members know that they have been on the firing line. There have been reports that they are aware that people are coming to attack them. Preparations have been made to attack them. And all efforts for them to get to inform the police or the authorities failed until they are now killed. Then everybody is going to that state to do what? You see, what even worries me is that if a gang of perhaps over 100 or 200 people can gather in any location and begin to plot this kind of atrocities, then there's the intel, the police, the Department of the military intelligence units are not aware, the police are not aware. Nobody's aware until the killings happen. Then the chief of defense staff has got to tell us that the intel available only those in the community should have. Is there no army intel? Because what this means is that any community can be ransacked and vanquished in the same way. And this is not even the first time this thing is happening. So what really are we paying these military officials, security officials for? What really are we giving them this island emoluments for? If they were there only to come and do a post-mortem after the deed has occurred. Now, this is not going to be the last. This is just one of the several that will happen. Because several in Zamfara, in the Plateau, even in Imo State, this mass killings has continued. A new bull Ebony. This is continuing, and the fingers continue to point in one direction. Fulani Headmen Militia. Fulani Headmen Militia. Who are these Fulani Headmen Militia? Why can't they be targeted and eliminated? People begin to think, is it that the government is complicit in all this? Because it boggles the mind. The only reason why, for instance, Bola Tinubu is even going to that state is because the Pope mentioned this issue, this particular instance, in his homily last Sunday.
Yes.
Because previous massacres have taken place and not even an iota of concern from this government. And now the government is telling us that these APC members who are this, to hell with him and his APC members. Because these things can be continuing, have been happening. Before this APC came in, we've not been having this kind of mass killing in people's communities. It's when Buhari was president. And Tinubu assured us he was coming to continue with what the Buhari has been doing. That's why these things are continuing. Now, what worries me is, yes, it appears far. Benue State, it could have been any of our villages. It could have been any of our communities. Even those who are in Lagos will think that they are far away from it. It is not.
It is not.
If you go towards the Alabarogo area, you will know that gatherings occur. And from that gathering, any community can be disseminated, decimated. And nobody goes in to know what is going on in those gatherings until when it happens. Then the chief of defense staff, chief of army staff will start walking up and down, traveling on extra code, wasting money on extra code, creating more confusion in those states. This is what happens when the security of an area is managed by people who are not indigenous to that area. Now, the INEC police who comes from Abuja to Benue, what does he know that is going on in Benue? That's why I keep on saying they only go there and cause more confusion.
Really?
But if there were state police, if there was community police in those areas, they know the nooks and crannies. But now somebody comes in from Abuja, stays in one 5-star hotel in Makurdi, and claims he's going to visit Yele Tower. To do what? To create more confusion. Distort evidence. Until the next one happens, and we keep on going around and around. It's quite unfortunate.
All right, Barrister Eze Eliche. So, just like what you have said, a couple of things come to mind. The insecurity is not just isolated to a particular region; it's happening in almost all places. But there are volatile areas that have supposedly been earmarked for consistent mayhem occurring: Benue, Plateau, and then the southeast. Now, in Enugu State, for example, you know that there was a heartbreaking report of brutal killing of innocent farmers in Ikparara village, Agamede Ehamufu community in Enugu State. This was during the weekend. And, Ehamufu people were grieving their families. They are still even searching for their loved ones. Initially, we saw 4 or 5 bodies. Then later, they went into the bushes and they saw about other bodies. So right now, officially, it's like 12 or 13 bodies. Barrister Eze Eluche, if you see how these human beings were killed, people were killed, the butchering the view is gory. The kind of image is gory. It's circulated on social media. I myself refuse to see. I don't like seeing such things because you won't be able to sleep at night. So there have been talks that in Enugu State, for example, this insecurity has continued, specifically Enugu State, Ebonyi State, but that the governors resort to wanting to cover it up and make it seem as if it's not as bad as it's being said when Nigerians cry out and call out the placidity or inefficiency when it comes to insecurity in that particular region. Barrister, I want to ask you, what are the House of Rep members in the Southeast doing? If the governors have decided to remain redundant in being active to curb this menace in their region, and every time you hear people complain about the fact that the Southeast is landlocked, the federal government is involved in what is going on in the Southeast, they want to cripple the economic viability of the Southeast, they're deliberately setting the Southeast up so that they will become obsolete, nothing will happen. Why are the House of Rep members, the constituted House of Rep members and legislators, mute about the atrocities, the mayhem going on in the Southeast? Imo State, as it stands right now, most of the communities there are deserted. Young men, able young men and children, a lot of them have left. It's only the old people you see in some communities. If you go to Osu or some of those localities, you wouldn't see people there. So is this a deliberate way of having to replace the originals from their state? Is there a plan with the Southeastern governors and the House of Rep members, or are they just only about their pockets? I really need you because I know you base there.
Thank you very much. See, in Nigeria, what we pretend to be a democracy is not a democracy, it's autocracy in democratic affairs. I will refer to, for instance, the issue of Senator Natasha, who tried to move a motion relating to Ajakuta Steel, and severally she was denied. So the way the National Assembly is structured, the Speaker of the House or the President of the Senate decides what is even discussed, motions that are moved. And if he doesn't want it to be moved, it won't be moved. So the members of the House or the Senate of the Southeast, if Mr. Fabio or the Speaker Abbas feel that this issue should not be tabled or discussed, it should never be tabled or discussed. Is that how to run a parliament? Is that how to run a Congress? We don't have a democracy. We don't have people who go there and make jokes at the expense of the population. They go and crack jokes and discuss non-entities, inanities, and they don't address the serious issues. If you were to how to distribute vehicles themselves or power budget, you will hear them laughing and joking and talking. But for a member to, I know how, for instance, the member from the area, severally he said he has tried to even table this issue as a motion of national importance, and it's not even heard. It's not allowed. Even if you force your way, they will either suspend you or make you a redundant and emasculate you. So don't shift blame, please. Don't go that direction of saying what are the members of the House or Senate doing. That is just the bread and root tactics. The issue is this: what have the security agencies done? In Southeast, there are some areas, the way of Port Harcourt Road, you will be in one point and you see 5 checkpoints, 5 police checkpoints and military checkpoints combined. Same thing with River Road, same thing with your Nature Road. Where do these rascals disappear to once there's crisis? These rascals in military and police, they will literally disappear once there's crisis. Now, if they begin to wonder, are they the ones instigating the crisis or doing the killing? Because when there is no killing, they are extorting people on one point, which is technically armed robbery on the roads. And the moment there is any crisis, they disappear from the society, from the environment. People begin to join dots, and to them it is as if there is complicity between the military and the security agencies and these things. You are going to talk and say the people thing. Some stay in a way less than 20 kilometers, 15 kilometers. Fulani herdsmen slaughter an entire community. And what happens? You call the police, they don't answer you. And they see farmers, communal vigilante in the police with gun guns. Those are the ones they arrest and they shoot. But when it's community, we have seen AKs and very little weapon bearing headsmen in our bushes. Nobody comes in there. Exactly what you hear from Benue State, exactly what you hear from all over the country. They keep on pointing fingers at these federally controlled security agencies. Then when it big happens, you see the idea of police in a public expense to go and stay in five-star hotels and tell us he's going to see the scene of the crime. Or you see Mr. Bola Tinubu travel with that area to go and do work, for goodness sake. So Nigerians have to decide for themselves, do they want to leave or not leave? And with regard to the Southeast, you mentioned a very critical issue. And the place is becoming deserted and everything. It is sort of a game plan.
It's a game plan?
And it is, yes. Let me explain.
Okay.
It is structured. It is embedded in the Nigerian system. Make the Southeast unlivable. Everybody will settle from it, and they will not claim, okay, nobody is there in the Southeast. Why do you have to make the Southeast unlivable? When you refuse to put infrastructure that can make the place viable, you make sure that when you are putting railway lines, it doesn't cross the Southeast. When you are doing power lines, it doesn't cross the Southeast. When you are talking of seaports or other infrastructure that can bring in industries, it does not cross the Southeast. When you are talking of gas pipelines, the gas comes from the Southeast, but you make sure the pipelines for industries to use those gas does not pass through the Southeast. You look it, you can't open it until it gets to Ogun State. And everybody now rushes to Lagos and Ogun, and you say the Southeast is deserted. Those who are in the Southeast, what will you be doing? As I'm talking to you now, I'm using my generator to power my system. So for the past 3 days, where there's no light in this area. And people turn around saying the Southeast is deserted. It's part of the national policy. And this has been continuing for a very long while. It's not by accident that no railway line passed through the Southeast. And we have to say this thing. And unfortunately, Mr. Bola Tinubu has come and intensified it on. He talks of a Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. Deliberately avoiding the Southeast. He talks about every project this character has tried to implement, avoid the Southeast. When the young men, what do you want them to do? And you bring in these killer policemen and military men, when they see any young man, they tell him he's IPD member. And they shoot and kill and tell you I will kill you and nothing will happen and nothing happens. And you are blaming the youth for not being in the Southeast. And when I say it's orchestrated government policy. Yes, they will not allow the members of National Assembly from the Southeast to sit in the National Assembly, but we have to tell these devils that we know what they are doing.
So
and they will be, yes, in due time, in due course, this nonsense must stop.
So
Barrister, because it's been on for damn too long.
Barrister, you feel
I'm
that...
because I'm passionate about it,
yes.
and I know what the cause, the attacks, even the family says, what are you doing there?
Okay, so Barrister, you feel that the desolation... Yes. The desolation and the economic constraint in the Southeast is a deliberate machination of the government of the day, or is it just this government, or it's been something ongoing from time immemorial? I want to really understand, or was it something that began during the administration when the APC came into power? I need to get to your context.
No. Yes, you see, when you hear that when the people were entered, there was a construction, rehabilitation, and all that crap, it's nonsense. It's been deliberate. You cannot establish industries of a particular caliber or height in the Southeast. You cannot. If government policy, they will tell you it will not be possible to establish that industry in the Southeast. I've had friends who try to establish even this factory in the Southeast, but they will be told it's not possible. And come to us, I will give you free land, establish there, but in the Southeast, no, it will not be approved. This is confession of those who are on the field. So it has been continuing, but only it's now being further exposed, further heightened. Because despite all that government orchestrated the Southeast.
But Barrister Eze, just hold on. The line is really very bad. Let me call you again because I need you. I really need to hear you clearly. It's very important that we all hear what you're saying clearly. We're educating ourselves because these are pertinent questions that requires responses. You know, if there are complaints across several quarters as to insecurity, the economic desolation in some certain regions, are we saying that they are deliberately orchestrated to create a sense of redundancy or dormancy? Barrister Eze, please go ahead. Yes, you were saying something.
Yes. Good. I'm saying when they realize that despite all that government machinations to stop development in the southeast, when they come back and they still look at the place is still developing, they now brought in this charade of insecurity. They brought in this charade of insecurity, and unfortunately, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu fell, and then he started all this. They now use that noise of IPOB to cash in. Because before this so-called declaration of IPOB as a terrorist group, the Southeast was declared by the UN agencies in Nigeria as the most peaceful area in the country. So this was deliberate. The insecurity in the Southeast, with all the of military security personnel all over the place, is government orchestrated to further frustrate the system. And I bet any of them to come out and say no to this. The government is the one that creates the insecurity, is the one that tries to enforce the sit at home. When people are ready to come out, the military will tell you, go back home. There is sit at home. What sit at home are you talking about when you're the one enforcing it? The police likewise. So when they saw that despite the lack of infrastructure, the lack of light, the lack of everything, some diehards are still putting in factories at great expense. They said, okay, you have to be trying to tell us you are wise, now we'll bring this and then it's also the whole process. That is why you have characters like Asahi Dokubo coming out on national TV to tell you without any shame that yes, he's working in the collaboration with the military and they are killing the Igbos water. His words. And the people are stupid. Stupid for how long? But everything, like I said, has a beginning and season. But people just have to be aware of all these issues going on in the country. The Southeast remains peaceful. It has been orchestrated by these strange elements together with the security agencies. It's not by accident, for instance, that Imo State, since the advent of this democratic inspection, has had northerners as commissioners of police in this state. Not one single person from the Southeast has been a commissioner in Imo State. It's almost likewise in Abia State. The commissioner of police that was in Abia State at the height of the crisis in Abia was promoted for his good works in destabilizing Abia, and is now an AIG in the system. The rascal commissioner of police, under whose watch the Nigerian Police Command headquarters, where it was looted and ransacked and burnt down, is now an AIG in this same system. He was a commissioner of police at the time when they said the criminals came and released prisoners from over the prison, destroyed the state police headquarters. For the good work this rascal did, he's now an AIG under the same Nigerian government. And they're telling us that this insecurity is caused by who? Ordinarily, when a commissioner of police, who is a sitting commissioner of police, is there and his headquarters is ransacked, destroyed, that should have called for his orderly trial and dismissal. Because if you know the amount of arsenal, the weapons in a state police command, nobody can get into that place without complicity. Can you think of any group of criminals going to Ikeja and storming the Lagos State Police Command headquarters? It's not possible. But in Imo State, it happened. They entered the police headquarters, opened the prison for every prisoner to escape, and the commissioner of police that was commissioner then is now an AIG in this wretched system we call Nigeria. It's quite sad. Don't blame the members of the Southeast in the House of Assembly. Don't even blame these they are stooges they placed as governor. Because yes, they are stooges and we know them, like this focus on them in Imo State. Who knew he never won any elections? Or the characters in the Benue State? Or the one they're not trying to foist in Abia, in Anambra State? Somebody whose antecedents in the crime world is well known. You want to foist him as a governor. Then when the state now starts running down, you say, okay, yes, it's their people who is running it down, or who are running their state down. Yes. So when Hope runs Imo State down, you say it is Imo people who are running the state down, or that they cannot do what is right. We know that all these are jokes. But the way we address this thing and tell them frontally, it's just like the same charade Tinubu is going to do, did in Benue by going to visit. Or the IG of police.
You think it's a charade? I mean, if Nigerians have
It's
been asking for him to display some form of empathy, he's doing that now. So shouldn't he be congratulated?
The current IG of police,
Okay.
the current IG of police was Tinubu's ADC when he was governor of Lagos State. So when he goes there and he says he's going to do square crime, you know he's talking crap. You know he doesn't even need to be there, for goodness sake. Let him remain in Abuja, let the people in the state have. We're seeing what is going on in America. You have the community police, you have the district police, you have the state police. In Nigeria, you only have one federal police. For what reason? And they have shown repeatedly that they're not doing a good job. If somebody's not doing a good job, for goodness sake, why can't you change it? And they say, you now hear Governor Alia saying, no, he doesn't support people arming themselves.
Yeah, he said
you don't want people to arm themselves.
Yeah, he says he doesn't believe in that
Is
self-defense.
he not ashamed to himself? Okay, who's going to defend them? The same police and military who are suspected to be complicit in all this crisis? Mind you, the people in this this village that was killed, Yeletawa, they had even left their place initially, and we are now under a IDP camp where the Catholic Church was supporting them with items. You now come and kill them again in that place. Where do you want them to go? And the shameless government is willing to provide buses to move these people again to where? Now, as you are moving them away from their ancestral homeland, somebody else is occupying it and living in it. This is just a follow-up of what Buhari was doing. That his former chief of press chief, I don't know, I think Adesina or whatever his name is, had the temerity to ask the people of Benue to either choose between their land and their life. Can you imagine such insensitivity, such nonsensical comment coming out from the government? And that's what is going on now. You are ready to provide vehicles to move them to another place. Why don't you secure where they are and remove those bastards who are coming to kill them? It's very, very sad. Let us keep on discussing this issue online. But the reality is this. You're not sure whether tomorrow it will be your own town. And I'm not sure whether I won't be a victim tomorrow. That's why we have to rise up and help to protect. Wheresoever we see evil, we condemn it vehemently. Vehemently. And not play politics like Governor, like Alia is doing in the Benue State, talking that it's politics. Meanwhile, you don't tell us any of the politicians. Maybe it is he himself who is causing this crisis, because a politician. Thank you, Dan.
All right, Barrister Eze Eliche, so do you think that there is a political tenet to this? A couple of persons feel that this is towards 2027. A couple of persons also feel, for example, that the Nigerian security is very well aware of this, and they're aiding and abetting some of these things going on across certain regions in the country. And they've been called to respond to that, but they haven't given any adequate response. The only thing the Chief of Defense Staff said was that we should not escalate issues further and that the people should work with the Nigerian military. But the people have complained that when they do so, they get reprisal attacks within their community, and the families who try to divulge any information to the Nigerian army gets seriously affected. In other words, there are serious moles within the military, and they also think that the military is saturated or pervaded basically by a particular ethnic extraction, and that's why the will to erode the country of these guys are very slow, that they are kind of sympathetic to what these individuals are doing. Do you think so?
Well, the reality is when this chief of staff talks about go to cooperate with the military, which military? Like for instance, there have been several instances when even the soldiers right there at the forefront turn their guns on their commanding officers because they feel that certain ambushes couldn't have been possible without their commanding officers being aware of it. A major general had to run away from his base in the north in one of these instances. So which military? That is why, for instance, people from the southeast don't even bother. Because when the killings happen, it is you that is not from within or who doesn't speak their language that will be killed. The other day, the chief of army staff was in the southeast trying to beg people to come and join the military. Okay, beautiful. You beg them to come and join the military, but you don't come and beg them to come and join NNPC or NIMASA or more profitable areas. You want them to go and join where they suspect that they will be killed. We have to be realistic in this country, for goodness sake. Now, you ask whether it was do I think it's political or not? By there, when there is an armed robbery, you begin to say is it political or not. This is a crime. This is genocide. This is ethnic cleansing of genocidal proportions taking place. So it's immaterial whatsoever. It's been the reason or for it. Go after the people who are involved and go and put them behind bars. I mean, but the system keeps on supporting and pandering to these rascals who do these killings or who are part of it. It's only when they are disgraced outside the country that we say, Nigeria should have acted. Not too long ago, a famous sheikh who speaks up, who negotiates for these criminals, for these terrorists, tried to go to Saudi Arabia to perform the public.
You're referring to Sheikh Gumi.
Guess what? Sheikh Gumi, yes. The Saudis are not stupid. They know where a criminal, when they see a criminal, they told him to get out of the country. Yes, you can't, after killing people in your land and come here and say you are coming to do pilgrimage. I mean, they didn't allow him to come in. That is what a country does. But such a character, he arrives in Nigeria, he gets a red carpet treatment. You see the military discussing issues with these terrorists, escorting them to their bases, collecting money for them, and you want the people to come and be cooperating with these same security agencies? Come on. People ain't stupid. They're not stupid. I mean, it's unfortunate, but this continues ad infinitum without even stop, and it keeps on happening. This chief of our staff, we think he has a Christian name. He comes, we wonder what's going on. But when you become that high in the military and your emoluments are secured, your bulletproof millions for pension is secured, it's then to forget what is going on in society and just cater for yourself, and you are overwhelmed with the system. But don't go back to people and tell them they should cooperate with you when they have what they are seeing. At times when these things happen, it happens a few days after there has been a mop-up of domestic weapons. You see the same security agencies, they will come. Okay, we don't want you people to be fighting. Bring out all your guns. They will search the rooms, take all the cutlasses, everything. Then a few days later, you will see these rascals, terrorists who come in and kill everybody. In fact, people say, look, once the military or the security come and say they want to do mop up and collect guns from any community, leave. Because that means that in a couple of days, that community will be attacked. Yes. So when they come to attack in that way, and a day or two before somebody gives all the military checkpoints authority to close and move to somewhere else. You now see that people are beginning to say, okay, something is wrong. Maybe the stench has not gotten as high as to the chief of defense staff or the chief of army staff, but they should find the dirty bags in their system, which allows this madness to continue, because the pattern is established. Along the Owerri-Aba road, you see checkpoints virtually every 3 or 4 kilometers on that road. But at a time when herdsmen, militia, came and took the entire passengers in a GUO bus, and they operated for more than almost 1 hour on that road, no single security personnel showed up. After they had disappeared, then you now see them, hey, where are they? Where are they? Where are who? Who are you fooling? Then the next minute, they'll now mount those checkpoints and continue the extortion. And you want people to take information to those characters? Come on.
All right, Parasite Eliche, thank you so much for giving us your insights. We'll still reach out to you when it's time for listeners and viewers to ask questions, where you can be able to provide them insights or provide more clarity to some of the conversations that we have had here.
Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. But please stay on the line. I would call you soon as well, because I know questions be asked to you concerning what you just said.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Lawal Ekundire. So in the midst of all of this, situation, there are talks that while insecurity pervades, politics is still on the strategic chessboard of what is going on in the country. For example, Mahmoud Yakub has been served with a letter of contempt of court. There's a possibility that he could be arrested. Now, the National Rescue Movement are the ones who are complaining about it. They said that they've been trying to serve the contempt of court order to the INEC chairman, and anytime they actually approach the office of the INEC in Abuja, there is seriously fortified with security. They've not been able to access him. So why do we have these persons always be in contempt of court? This is not the first contempt of court accusation or charge leveled against Mahmoud Yakub. The other contempt of court is the prosecution of persons who were involved in electoral malfeasance who worked for INEC in 2023. He was asked to parade these individuals for prosecution to commence and the necessary disciplinary actions acted upon. The only one that we have seen is where the president sanctioned, or rather removed totally, the operational capacity of 3 INEC chairs. I think one of them is Hudu Yunusa Ari of Adamawa, that actually came to call out a resort. His case is supposedly still meant to be in court, but he's not yet been imprisoned. We've not heard anymore if that case is still in court whatsoever. He now came out to say indeed that there were certain persons who were inflated the election results, confessing that INEC was also part of what happened, and others as well, 2 others that the president actually sacked completely. But since then, others that we saw videos, they have not been prosecution proceedings haven't commenced, they've not been paraded, and this is another contempt of court charge. What do you have to say to this?
What do you expect me to say? I don't know what to say, because from the beginning of 2023 that the election, there is the reading of the election results. We started seeing contempt. You get it of I don't know what I'm going to call it up to now. So who's going to arrest the chairman of INEC? Who wants to arrest the chairman? Well, the chairman is very favorable to the executive. We now want to arrest him. So who do you want to? Who wants to arrest him? So that's just a language you will see. That's what we see. So who's going to arrest that? Is it things like this are bound to happen because of the situation we find ourselves. Nigerians will say, which one is my own business? As long as God is providing for me and my family. Okay, God is providing for you and your family. Fine, carry on. By the time they start taking those ones from you, you can see that it's even to go to hospital is even a problem. I see people dying in the houses. Somebody just died in my area yesterday. Day before yesterday, in my area. The man had a small stroke. It was fine. They started treating him in the house. If they were treating him in the house, before you know, he died. That very day, he died because people are
treating him of stroke in the house.
Mm-hmm. They said he had a partial stroke. So they sat him down in the house. They began to, treat him. By evening, he died.
But was he taken to the hospital?
Why? That's why I said people are afraid.
People are afraid to go to the hospital.
Yes. Do you know what they will do to you?
I don't understand.
The money you are going to spend now.
Okay, you're talking of the financial.
Yes, that's the fear now. Financial insecurity, that's the fear. By the time somebody gets to the hospital, you want to treat malaria, you are spending 70-something thousand, 50-something. You now calculate your salary before you eat. You have family. You want to go to work or you want to go to somewhere before you pay your rent. And you have already budgeted the money you are collecting every month. Somebody now to bring maybe 40-something thousand to treat malaria. After so many tests, they first of all start running some blind tests. They already know where you are going, but they want to make money for those diagnosis centers, and then they start.
All right, but Mr. Ekundaya, let's come back to base. The question is the INEC chairman above the law?
It's above the law now. Let me quickly answer that. Go to another question. Because it's above the law now. If it's not above the law, why is he moving all over the place?
Means you will be arrested.
Yeah, so why has he not been arrested?
Although he's not the only public official who has been sued for contempt of court. The former DSS boss, Bichi too, was also in violation of contempt of court.
Yeah,
the question is, if these public officials can disobey court orders, all right, don't obey court summons, refuse to be served, then does it mean that our law obviously doesn't apply to any of them? And that's why we're seeing the brazenness of their abnormalities taking place across several public institutions, but Nigerians are actually paying the price of that abysmal character anomaly.
That's the truth. That's the gospel truth. It's so open that we have two. I've said it many times. We have two constitutions. We have two Nigeria. We have the Nigeria of the masses, and they have the Nigeria of the ruling class. We have two constitutions. The constitution that will get in Nigeria, and even if somebody is accused of stealing cup of garri, how can somebody steal cup of garri? And the person is in jail immediately.
For example, if the administration intends to be transparent and they want Nigerians to believe in them, especially the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, these are the three arms of government. There needs to be checkmating, and to at least give a perception and illusion of transparency, checks and balances, and application of the law that actually, where they are actually imposed in their various positions. Why can't an enforcement order be gotten from the court for that man to receive that appearance motion, that is the contempt of court order, and if that is not respected, he be arrested?
That's what I'm asking. Who is going to arrest him? You know the judge cannot arrest him. Even if you go to court and get contempt of court,
no, what I'm saying
bench
is that
arrest.
You have a daily Farotimi, for example, with what happened. We saw how the police trunged into his home, broke into his home, brought him out, took him straight to the police station. We saw the alacrity of the justice system in his case. Why are we not seeing that alacrity on the INEC
You are even
bus?
talking about Faro team. You have not talked about Natasha that they want. They are asking for bench warrant. You serve somebody a day. That very day, and you already telling the judge immediately to issue a bench warrant for that person immediately. I mean, and then we see a case of somebody complained of case of sexual harassment, and that one is swept under the carpet. They are talking about defamation of character. Between defamation of character and sexual harassment, which one is stronger? Which one has is stronger when it comes to which one the law?
More potent.
Yes, frown against. Is it not sexual harassment? And look at, they are talking about defamation of character, and the federal government is filing doing the thing on behalf of people that he got, and then you see they want to quickly arrest her and do all those things. And I like that. That woman. I keep saying, if I have the opportunity, she will have been. In fact, I wish she would be the president of this country.
Don't wish yet. The case is still in court. If she's not able to prove her allegations, then it would mean that all of the praise and encomium she's getting is actually not it.
Okay.
What I'm talking about, the sexual allegations, she needs to prove beyond reasonable doubt that she was sexually harassed.
Wait, she's in court.
I'm just saying that at the end of the day,
why is the defamation of character one is
she's a political elite. This case is still in court. No, I'm not having to isolate the fact that a couple of machinations can take place here when things are not done properly. But I'm saying that based on her legal representation and with the fact that all eyes are on this case, she has to prove beyond reasonable doubt. She needs to have concrete evidence, WhatsApp chats, videos, conversations that tells to the fact that this man sexually harassed her. She should also be able to get conversations. If I were her, I would have recorded some of these conversations for a playback. But while that is ongoing, let's look at the scenario where, for example, the political atmosphere, how tense it is. While the situation in Benue was ongoing, certain elements converged somewhere and they were throwing cheers at themselves over the fact that while they were permanently endorsing the president for 2027, the vice president's name wasn't being mentioned. Okay, this was basically their own focus of the day. They weren't disheartened about the insecurity. They weren't worried about the fact that a couple of Nigerians are not happy with the displacement in the nation that is supposedly not at war. They're also not even talking about concrete issues that the party being in charge of the government is not paying attention to. And we're hearing talks about the fact that Shetima might be replaced because they feel that he doesn't have the wherewithal or the political vibrancy or connection to help win certain regions in the north on behalf of the president to stamp his winning in 2027. How do you look at the disparity in terms of priority?
There are two things to this. One, the gathering of the people at this time. Two, the issue of Shetima and whether it's going to be replaced or no. Now, on that one, let me tell you, because that one is very small and minor.
Okay.
The candidate has the right to pick whosoever he wants. It now depends on the running mate, how strong the running mate is, how the number of people he has at his back. I would say, no, if you don't pick this person, you are going to lose our support. That's why they go for this type of running mate. They know that can also put some certain weight. Population at their back. That is why. So if Shetima is not that type of person that can put that strong weight, of course it's going to replace him because he will see him as this one is not helping me politically. I know this. Our president is this type of man that is, he's doing fantastic when it comes to political mathematics. But the other side, I don't know. Now, that is that. The second one, the gathering at this time in which I say these people, it shows our level of illiteracy. It shows our level of illiteracy in this country. That killings, human beings have been burnt, children that are innocent have been set ablaze in a region not far away from them. And they are gathering to discuss something that is even far away. It's like preparing for a wedding where you are 2 years old.
Is it even constitutional for that kind of gathering and talking of 2027?
I begin to wonder. I don't know what I'm, because they always tell us that it's a timetable. You cannot what's this thing? You cannot talk about election until a certain time. Officially, you cannot. You can't.
Constitutional viability of that.
So they will say there is a timetable.
Gathering.
The timetable will not tell you when you now start to campaign. Talk about election. There's a timetable. So before that, they will tell you, no, you can't say that. It's no, you can only do. But this one, they do it openly. That's why I said when you are telling me that some people issue contempt of court against Mahmoud, that I told you that you asked whether it's above the law. I told you it's above the law. Yes, now it's above the law. The same thing with what is happening now. If it is somebody else now, you see what will have happened. I know that when I was a contest, that they find some people. If you INEC will fine you, there will be some sanction on you if you begin to campaign before the election time where they release the timetable. But it's different here. Now, hundreds of thousands of Nigerians gathered in one place, discussing 2027 and throwing shares whether somebody will go or no go. They don't even gather to protest concerning the killings that is coming. I mean, that is happening not far away from them. The state is not far away from where they are. So are you saying that they cannot come to the, or they don't listen to news? It shows our level of illiteracy. It shows our level, because sometimes those who are graduates are still illiterate when it comes to politics. Political illiteracy. That is what is happening. And then they gathered. Even in developed country, where they are so where everything is almost rosy, all of us wants to run to, they are protesting. Any small thing, they will protest. They are protesting against Trump in LA now. As of this moment, they are protesting. There's so many protesting going on every now and then. If you hear protests in UK, you hear any small. Some people are even protesting about this Trump policies concerning his policy on the immigrants.
Well, in this regard, based on all that is going on, hashtag Tinubu must resign is what is trending. And, a couple of people think that it is his political opponents that are milking this current circumstance with insecurity to defame him and make it seem as if he doesn't have the capacity to govern properly. They also make it seem as if he doesn't have the empathy and that he's only selfish just for himself and his cronies and maybe his region. And so they are, Tinubu resign is what is trending. Is him resigning going to solve the problem? Is him resigning going to help the situation, the economic porosities being witnessed by Nigerians or experienced by Nigerians? Is it just now that these persons are calling for his resignation? In the large scale of things, though, if the president resigns, will it end this insecurity? This person's perpetrating this mayhem because they have saturated almost all the regions. There is no region that is isolated. There is no region that is isolated at all. So will it end this dastardly act? And wouldn't it even worsen the mayhem and chaos when there's breakdown of law and order being experienced in other regions since this insecurity became a consistent practice?
Now, there's this thing. You have a company. There's an issue in the company. You employ somebody to come into that company and fix the problem. And the person is not fixing the problem. What are you going to do? This is not a common sense. Do we need to be going all over the place for that? Everybody knows that. Even an illiterate that did not go to school at all knows the next thing to do. Somebody, a stark illiterate that cannot even speak, he knows the next thing to do. That if you give somebody a job and the person is not doing as well with something, the next thing is for you to replace that person. That's everybody. It's a common sense. It's a common sense. If everything keep collapsing and then it's not working, the next thing is for you to tell the person, please, so you need to leave. Now, when it comes to resigning, it's a normal thing. They do it all over the place now. Is it new? UK Prime Minister will easily resign as if he wants to go to party. He's not going to party again. maybe there's a rainfall and he didn't want to go to the party again. It's so simple. Like somebody else would come in and take over, and then everybody will be enjoying. Even himself will enjoy it. It's so simple. So here it seems as if I don't understand our mentality. We have this kind of selfish, self-centered mentality. This wickedness. And let me use that word, wickedness, because we don't seem to care for somebody else that is beside us that is crying. We just, this is his business. Which one is my own? Let me just go to, as long as my family is not crying. That is the mentality we have. That's why you see somebody building a new house, you see how high their fences are. Their fences are so high because they don't want the other person to disturb them. That is the mentality we carry in this country. Somebody will say, it's his own time. When you get to your own time, you hit your own. What is the meaning of that, for God's sake?
So what stops the exposure of these elements? If the government exposes these individuals, does it not do their government well?
Expose which individual?
The elements of political bureaucrats or certain persons or oligarchs responsible for coordinating the marauding headers, the terrorists, in creating this mayhem.
Esther.
You cannot tell me, Mr. Lawal Ekundayo, that the government of the day doesn't know what is happening. You cannot tell me that our security operatives are not in the know of what is happening. Nigerians are already alleging that if you look at the ethnic profiling of members within our military, they're from a certain ethnic extraction. And that's why they're sympathetic towards being decisive and impulsively eradicating these individuals. I cannot understand how you've had consistent breakdown of law and order, certain individuals brazenly kill in indiscriminate forms. They're not even empathetic towards the kind of babies. You saw what happened. Babies were also part of this mayhem. The atrocity has gotten so much. The blood that the land has soaked, innocent blood, some people think that spiritually the land is fighting back, and that's why we're experiencing chaos. Other persons are saying this is happening simultaneously with the war between Israel and Iran. Protests already going on in the US. The US sending troops to the Mexican border as if there is a third world war coming in. So in this particular regard, Nigerians remain divided. They remain distracted. The youth seem not to know what direction to go through. What would be your advice? Because we need to open the phone lines.
Now, this is the advice. But before, just give me 1 minute. When the former caller says something.
Which caller?
Sorry, your guest. When you ask a question about the reps, he was trying to say now that we should focus. No, see, the reps, I keep saying it, the reps have more work to do than even the president.
Okay.
Or the governor, because the reps represent the people. The small pocket of an area is represented by a certain person. That's why you have 3 of them Senate, 6 of them House of Assembly coming up, and all these things are happening. So that's what I'm saying. In that Benue, that means they have 6 national reps, and these national reps have not staged a protest, have not, almost scattered the whole of House of Assembly or Senate because of what is going on in their state. You see the way they are mute. Everybody focus on the governor. The governor plus 9 plus 1, that is plus governor, making 10. Then the House of in their state legislature, they have reps. If you add them to it, you have almost over 60 people. Let me say 60 or 30 or let me 60 representing that certain people, and none of them is talking. Do you notice that? None of the senators in that area is talking, is fighting. That no, this thing is happening in my area, crying and fighting in that Senate. You have 3 of them. In the assembly, you have 6 of them. None of them is talking. None of them is scattering that house because of their people. Now, you have the legislatures in that state. None of the legislatures that represent these areas are coming out to talk, even stage a protest. That no, I'll be the one to lead protest to the governor's house on behalf of my people. Then the question is, where are these people? Where are these reps? Because they are collecting money. They were voted in to protect the interests of these people that are being killed. Regular that have been, this injustice, massacre is happening to them. Where are the people that represent these areas? We should call them to order. Now we are talking about the president. President should come. The president should not come. President, what about, because they are the one that make laws for the president to use. They are the one that makes law, and they are quiet. Then the question is, why are they? We should call their names out and show their pictures. that these are
That's
the people
what
that
I'm
represent
saying.
these areas.
Why are they? No, not aside from even the representatives. Like I was saying, that you can't tell me based on intelligence gathering, because the chief of defense staff now, while he has gone to Benue State, they've done their own intelligence gathering, their investigation, and they said that there are corporates within the community that are selling the people out. They're the ones providing information to these terrorists, these marauders that went to kill, and that the attack was very well coordinated. While a group distracted somewhere, the other group now went to where, and that the locations that were highlighted, the locations where this deadly attack took place, it only takes an insider to know that people converge in a certain place to sleep. They don't sleep in their homes because they don't know that in the night this killers come in and kill. So they try to converge together in certain places where they think they can protect themselves, or people are keeping there are vigilantes in that area. So if anything comes up, they're quickly alerted. And that it was in that place that was strategically targeted. So that's based on the intelligence report.
That intelligence is not correct.
Like I said, if he was able to in a day come up with that particular information, you can't tell me that all this while this insecurity has been going, that you do not know. So why don't you call out these elements? If they're in the polity, call them out. If they are serving government agents, call them out. What is the fear? Do you want the government of the day to continue to be perceived as if there is a collaboration to shed the blood of innocent Nigerians just to maintain your political relevancy?
No. That's why I said that intelligence is not correct, because the same thing we've been hearing it over and over again. In Benue, they will say, hey, there are some moles. In Niger State, there are some moles. In Kogi, there are moles. In Port Harcourt, Jos Plateau, in Jos, they say there are moles. In Kaduna, there are moles. Why do we listen to this rhetoric? It's like somebody is pressing button, the computer will just tell you that answer. The same thing. We'll just repeat the same, as if AI is one top. Because the same thing they've been telling us for years. It's still the same thing they are telling us now. There are moles. There are moles. Any small thing, there are moles. Anything, there are moles. So if you know there are moles and you have not arrested, you're supposed to have been telling us now about that. We are court-martialing some people based on the fact that they are moles.
Okay,
you're supposed to be saying that
now, Mr. Lawal Kondayo. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 90 minutes gone past 8 o'clock, and it's time for us to get your reaction. My guest earlier, who joined us via the telephone to give us his own insight, was Barrister Eze Eluchi. He spoke on the issues raised up here, and right here in the studio is Mr. Lawal Ekundayo. The number to call is 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. Please stay on the conversation. Make sure you turn down the volume of your radio so we can hear you adequately. The WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338. And you can also send an SMS as well to 080-3692-9933. For some of you who do not have any social media application, or if you're using any phone that doesn't have any social media connectivity at all, you can actually send an SMS. I think people deliberately do that. They don't want to be carried away with what is going on across social media. All right, 080-3692-9933, and the WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. What I told you to turn down the volume of your radio when you call. I just said that now. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
Hello, ma.
I can hear you, sir. What's your name?
It's Obina.
Obina.
Calling from Ekotun.
All right, Obina, please go ahead.
I see people that are protesting, that they are killing their people, and then police not gassing them. In fact, it's very wrong and very, very annoying. In their own state, it's not they are not coming to attack anybody, or they are just crying out that they are still where we find ourselves, that we are not happy about what is going on. So police, they should do their work. In fact, Nigerians are not happy that people that are protesting, you see what is going on in their own state. So it's very bad. I'm not happy for that action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Obina, for calling. 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. Hello, how are you? What's your name, please?
Hey, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Suli. I'm calling from Benue.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
I don't have much to take on this program this evening.
Okay.
You know, my take is this evening that people of Benue, I believe this is my own my own opinion. People of Benue, I believe that their leader know. The people that is representing there, including our senator, in 2027 will effort to, if we don't find solution to our situation here, there will be no election in that state. I believe they can do that. I believe maybe their leader will do that. Because anytime for the election, they will come out, there will be money. People will come out and vote. That's why they are killing. That is why I'm having problem with our people. That is why I'm having problem with our people. They are yet connected to the people that they are killing. And that is that they're supposed to be mandate them that if we don't find solution to this situation, there will be no election. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hi, good evening. How are you? Welcome. Good evening.
This is John Legend calling from Michi. Secondary, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Esther,
Sir?
let me tell you something. I have lived in North before. If you cannot find these people back, they will continue coming. Take it or leave it. If the people of Benue State cannot fight back, they will continue coming. You remember when your president was in France, we begged him to come, and immediately he came back. He gave a marching order, as if this Nigeria is going to divide into two. After how many days, what happened? You remember the one that the military, they bombed some people, group of people. They said that they didn't know.
Yes, it was a mistake.
Mistake indeed.
So all these things they are doing, we are counting it very well because they are using our life to play politics. Because you cannot tell me, likewise what they are saying now, 60 people they are staying in their house that they are representing these people. In Abuja, they have never coughed. They have never said, I have never seen anything, anybody from North, all these northern elites, leaders, all these areas, they have not said even one single word on this. Most of their politicians, they have not even said anything on this. All of them kept camp. Nobody is saying anything. It is only the Igbos and Yorubas mostly are complaining over this. Since this thing happens. And nothing is happening. Tomorrow, you will still see these people are coming to attack again after the marching order the president has been given. You will see because this is not today. The next one you see now, they will start an investigation to investigate and bring these people to book. And what makes me cry so much is that in this massacre, none of them was arrested. None of them was. I didn't hear someone because it is in Nigeria where you see a Boko Haram killed 100 people. They only kill. Army kill only 4. 24 run away with a gunshot, with a wound, with bullets in their leg or in their hand. Invisible things always happen here. Until these people retaliate on these people, fight them back before these people can calm down. Otherwise, they are going to finish them. Take it or leave it. Thank you.
All right, John Legend, thank you for calling. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello? Hello? Please, I've told you when you call, turn down the volume of your radio. It's important. 080-3692-9933. Hello? 080-3692-9933. That is the number to call. If you're calling, turn down the volume of your radio. If you do not, and I hear the background noise, I will cut you off. 080-3692-9933. And the WhatsApp number to also send your messages to is 0817-175-6338. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, hello, good evening. 080-3692-9933. That is the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
Hello, good evening.
I can hear you. Good evening. What's your name?
Hello.
080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening. My name is Cody.
All right, Buddy. Please go ahead. Buddy, what's your location?
So my contribution to this matter is that the way this thing is going on, most of the blame I feel on my own is the main people that represent Benue under federal or between the state House of Assembly. So they didn't say anything about this. They are calling government or federal or president. I know president on his own, he have his own blame. He have his own to be blamed. But this fight have to start from the root first. So even the community leader too, I believe if they didn't contribute to this, those outside cannot penetrate into this, cannot penetrate in this way. So that is the only thing I have to say. So the main people that have to fight for themselves is between themselves. So they have to have a community security.
All right, thank you very much for calling. All right, 080-3692-9933. That is the number to call. Again, the complaints a lot of Nigerians are having is this exacerbated when the political party, the APC, came into power. Speaking of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, some people feel that if the APC is no longer in power, maybe some kind of respite will be experienced. But during the PDP days, under Goodluck, at least the last tenure of administration with the PDP, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we saw this happen, the abduction of the cheaper girls in that large number, although there were political leanings to it, but insecurity, started towards...
It's localized. At that time, it was in Benue and it was localized.
It was localized?
Yes, in Benue, it was just one area, the cheaper
girls.
Yes, it was just some certain area in Benue. But this one now has, come down and sat down in almost all the regions of the country. That's a major problem. It's not even at the border anymore.
All right. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
This is Mr. I'm calling from Satellite Town.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Benue people. I think the Benue people have some celebrities. If government officials cannot do anything, they have people like Two-Face and some celebrities that wire. They're supposed to come and then unite those people, all go to the federal level, to the capital, and then let it happen that, in fact...
Hello? 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yes, hello, good evening. How are you?
Fine.
What's your name?
Vitalis.
Vitalis, location, please.
Calling from Alaba.
All right, Vitalis, please go ahead.
This is governor of the state, being a reverend father.
Okay.
Who took political position instead of spiritual position at the naturally.
Vitalis, where are you? Where you dey? That place is very noisy. You dey road?
I said this reverend father of Benue State.
Okay.
Who left his pulpit as a priest of a Catholic or a preacher to become a politician. Don't really know what it takes to be a governor of the state before going to that office. Hello?
I can hear you.
I say, don't you know what it takes to be a governor of a state before going to that office? Or do you think that a political office as a governor is equivalent to a Catholic chapel or whatever?
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. Hello, good evening. How are you? And this is a private number. Why are you hiding your number? Are you DSS? 080-3692-9933. That is the number to call. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello? 080-3692-9933. I hope it is not a network conspiracy where some of our calls are just going off. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello? Okay, I think it's official. It's a network conspiracy. Because they can't hear me. Okay, you can call the other line, 0700-903-903-903. 0700-903-903-903. Hello, good evening. How are you? Okay, now it's official. There's a network conspiracy ongoing. 08036929933. That is the number to call. Or you can actually call 0700 903 903 903. Hello? Turn down the volume, please. How are you?
I'm fine. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Harrison Okoria.
Harrison Okuri. Harrison, please, where's your location?
My location, I got for last week.
All right, Harrison, please go ahead.
Yeah, please. The only thing I have to contribute in this matter is that it's about time that we have to know that our government doesn't care for us. That we need to stand up for ourselves. Because I don't see any reason why bandits will just enter a village and kill up to 200, over 200. And they didn't kill even one of them. You see? So it's about time that we need to stand, Nigeria need to stand for themselves and forget about government. Keep government aside. What they are fighting is their own pocket. That is my own way. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Harrison. Thank you for calling. 08036929933. And if the network is not letting you connect, you can call 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening, Esther.
Wow, turn down the volume of your radio.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Samson, calling from Ikotu.
Samson from Ikotu.
Yes.
All right, Samson, please go ahead.
Hello, my call.
Go ahead,
Based on
Samson.
the Benue state issue. Yeah, I think Benue. Can you hear me?
Yes, Samson, I can hear you. It seems you're in a noisy
Yes,
environment.
I think in Benue state they have a lot of generals and some army members who have started and retired in this country. So I don't see any reason why they will not come out and defend their state. And they are still believing the federal government. Mind you, there is nothing like a government in this country. There is, but they are not functional. Yeah, they are not responsible. Both the federal level, both the state level, the local government level, they are not functional. If you are waiting for them, you are wasting time. So let the generals, I know Plateau State and Benue State as a state who possess the most military personnel in this country. So why can't they use their military might and fight all these things?
Okay, thank you very much. You remember we talked about this yesterday, what we mentioned about these retired generals that were from Benue. What happened? I think one of the analysts told us that they don't have any power anymore. There's nothing they can do. They're retired.
That's not true.
That's not true?
No, that's not true.
Okay, so what's the truth?
You see, even a general is a general, whether in serving or not serving, because you still have connections. There are people you know in the army. There are people who are loyal to you in the army. So you still have your connections. So they still can use that connection. But we cannot rule out government involvement. Because the government can use it. There is a reason why we will surrender. Why we surrender our sovereignty to these people to manage a country. We surrender the resources to them. Somebody from Sokoto who become president will be controlling the resources in Delta State. You can see the distance. There's a reason why the people Deltans surrender their sovereignty, their resources to this person. So you can't tell me they are suffering. The same thing with the Benue people. The reason why they surrendered their sovereignty to the leadership in politics. So there's no excuse at all for the president not to perform. There's no excuse at all for the governor or the reps. Because that is the reason why they are there.
Okay. Hello, good evening. How are you? Oh, this one, the thing don't even go through self. What thing did happen? Hello, good evening. How are you? Ogini name. 0036929933. See, some of I don't know which. Hello, how are you? I don't know what to call this one. Are there some forces that we're not aware of? Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello. Hello. God doesn't know that he's live. 08036929933. Hello, how are you? Hello. Okay, I think I'm going to take some WhatsApp messages now because the calls are disappointing. I just hope that there's no network conspiracy. And I don't make my people call me Abby. Okay, so I'm going to head on to WhatsApp now. Quite a lot of messages here. The number to send your messages to on WhatsApp is 0817-1756-338. Okay, that's the number to send your WhatsApp messages to. I'll start from Tunde from Ijegu. Good evening, Madam Esther. Last month, unknown gunmen or IPOB members killed 30 people in the southeast, but Obi didn't post anything on his social media to condemn it. Similarly, Obedience remained silent about the incident. As Ronald Walker often points out, when violence occurs in the east carried out by eastern terrorists, did you just call? No, this is wrong now. Why would you proscribe him?
Oh, that person doesn't know what he's saying.
No, this is
I don't know why we are so
bigotry
divided like
statement.
this.
This is a Tunde. Are you a bigot? Stop it. Stop it. Is wrong.
I don't know why.
Why would the governor tell the people of Benue State not to resort to self-help? What if it is the only way to protect themselves and their property? He meant they should stand as cowards and allow these unscrupulous elements wipe them out of the surface of the earth. Who does that? Even the Constitution of Nigeria allows for self-defense. Hashtag Benue Lives Matter. Okay, you did not put your name here. Good evening. President Tinubu is not a real Democrat. He only operates a unity system of government, and he will dump Shetima because we all know how he has 3 different deputy governors before he left office in Lagos from Sheyi. How will I take note this thing so? Well, the Northeast has said they will not allow that. Good evening, Esther and guest Lekon from Lagos. PTA nation that is insecure, killing of its citizens for political gain, displacement of its citizens also has become a gangster paradise. PTA nation ruled by low-grade minds, corrupt above the law, deceptive, full of eye service and propagandas and excuse makers. PTA nation where his economy is in disaster. All right, Lekon, thank you very much. I get your message. From Yemi Lagos, on the worrisome spate of killings in Benue and others. Good evening, Esther and the guest in the studio. Whatever anybody might say or trying to explain away, what we are witnessing is in Benue and other places at this time simply is a jihadist agenda. There's nothing political about it. It's purely religious. If anyone disputes it, my question is, why is it that these callous attacks are concentrated on mostly Christian communities? Why Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, and the minority settlements in Borno State? Are we now pretending not to know what is the collective mission statement of Boko Haram, ISWAP, ISIS, Lakurawa, and of recent Mahmuda? What they all have in common is using available instruments of force to achieve their aims of eliminating those they see as infidels, take over their land, Islamize the inhabitants. Ask our neighbors Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, and they will have tales of woes to tell. So what we are experiencing today is not peculiar to us. It's true that so many foreigners are involved, but not without the robust connivance of certain Nigerians. Tell me, is Boko Haram not Nigeria-based? My advice to the government is to begin to see this terrible development as a call for a full-scale war and deal with it as such. On a lighter note, Esther must pay for this Yoruba tutorial. Ekundaya should give her a bill. Please note, above was sent during your previous edition but was not read out, hence the need to resend. Okay, Mr. Lawa Ekundaya, what tutorial did you give me that I need to pay you for?
Okay, maybe that Yoruba interpretation last must be on Friday.
Okay, okay, this is not for me. This was sent in the morning. Good evening, Esther and the guests. This noise about farmers versus herders clashes is just a smokescreen to cover up the real intent of Fulani terrorists. Fulani cabal in Nigerian government are using subterfuge to push their expansionist agenda. They need land to install emirates all over Nigeria. Next time a northerner becomes president, they hope to actualize the agenda via the Ministry of Livestock that will be allotted land nationwide. Most likely these lands are people are criminally being sacked from. Dozie Augustine. I mean, these thoughts are sounding logical. Remove Obi and Oti right now, the whole other politicians from the eastern part of Nigeria is a sellout and have sold their souls for money from Nigerian government. They actually aid the killing of their people, and you will never see any of them living in that region. And when they visit, it's with bulletproof cars and troops of army. Why? Ororo from Ayabo. Good evening, Esther Machko. Good evening, Barrister Eze and Mr. Ekundaya. Solomon Asika from Mushi. In fact, Barrister Eze Uche had said everything. Don't think the president would ever declare state of emergency in Benue State because there's no interest to all there. And because we're in a state of oblivion, full of hypocrisy and bigots. If not, why is this conspiracy going on everywhere in this country? In the East, it's called unknown gunmen, especially in Imo State. Everyday killings. It's time we rise and speak in one voice. And may God save us all from this nightmare. Well done. Good evening, Esther, Mr. Ekundo and Barrister Eze. How can the president nominate our sect chair? This rape of democracy by Tinubu should be resisted by well-meaning Nigerians. Why will the president contemplate having local government election without the elected governor of River State? Wike, after gifting houses to judges, is set to gift INEC a new headquarters? I don't think what is left of Nigeria. All I see is state capture everywhere. Military, police, civil defense, labor unions, political parties, CSO, INEC, judiciary, legislature, DSS, and virtually all the state governments. Anaklet Anubawa from Alabado. All right, Raphael is my name. Nigeria is leaking. All politicians have run under umbrellas. Citizens are under the rain crying for help. Who knows how long citizens arise? Good evening, Esther, and our honorable guest in the house today. Esther, please advise Nigerians to unite against all these killings of their fellow Nigerians in Benue, Plateau, Enugu, Southern Kaduna, Borno, and Zamfara states. Because the killing of a Nigerian is a killing of all Nigerians. It's a matter of who is first and who is next. Then Esther, can you people please stop calling what's happening an insecurity, because it isn't. Obviously, this is pure jihad war of Islamization, Fulanization, and Yorubanization of Nigeria, Nigerians having government backup. What's your name? You did not put your name here. You people, why won't you put your name? Why are you hiding?
Said Yorubanization of
I don't
Benue
understand.
State.
So it's not Igbo-nization, Abi.
But you
Good evening, Esther and Barrister Ekunda. Barrister Ekunda, you don't. Which time you go law school?
I'm a teacher now. I'll soon go back to school and do law.
You want to study law?
Why not?
Okay, that's nice. Good evening, Esther and Mr. Ekunda and other guys. The killings in Benue cannot stop. Remember, Buhari said we should spare them, that we should not pursue them out of our land, that they are our brothers. Now, quote me, I said so, that these killers are the ones that was re-radicalized and reintegrated into the Nigerian military force by Buhari. The terrorists that is in a saner country are supposed to be killed are the ones perpetrating this evil, and they're succeeding heavily. Mazi Amadi from Lagos. So there's this video I saw on social media where we saw this terrorists, I don't want to call them bandits, heavily armed with guns, shaking hands with the military. We saw the Nigerian army military uniform in a Hilux vehicle. No, this one, we saw them, they were shaking hands, they were all, laughing and talking together, and these guys all had weapons.
You think Nigerians are fool? You think we don't know?
That's insane. If I'm waiting for the Nigerian army to come and debunk that it is not in Nigeria.
They won't do that now. Why would they do that? They're telling you that it's political.
Good evening, Esther. Something. The story about the man that died of stroke is true. Today is exactly 4 weeks. I'm down with some ailments. I know how much I've spent and still spending from Island General Hospital, Broad Street. Scan alone is up to 230k, minus drugs and tablets. David from Ipaja. Jesus. What? Scan? Where person won't get money from? We should appreciate good health in this period, though. I'm telling you, anything you can do to protect yourself health-wise, please do.
Yeah, why do we have government?
Okay.
Why do we pay tax?
No, but you're speaking English. Good evening, my name is AA from Akonwajo. Your guest is just making noise and lying and saying government is the one causing sit at home and not IPOP. He can only deceive himself with tribal sentiments and Peter Obi supporters with propaganda. If Peter Obi becomes president, let him carry gun to Benue State like the killing in Nigeria start today instead of finding solutions to problems. Okay?
Sorry, who said that? Because I've not said anything about that.
No, he's not referring to you. He's referring to Barrister Eze Eluche. You guys should be putting your name. Okay, AA from Akonwajo. That's him.
That's not even a name.
Nigerian government is planting seeds. When it germinates, they cannot withstand the harvest. We cannot open our eyes to see our loved ones dying anymore. Benjamin. Okay, good evening, my beloved crew. Please, if I may ask, can't Tinubu spend more time to tackle Nigeria's numerous problems like hunger, insecurity, poverty, electricity, than stooping so low to galvanizing these selfish politicians with Nigeria's commonwealth to foolishly give him the so-called support? More so, where on earth will this haze and his cohort propaganda lead them to if Nigeria finally wakes up from their slumber to checkmate them come 2027? Boyason from Afro Media. Well done, Boyerson. Good evening, Esther, Mr. Lawal. The people of Benue should call out these reps and senators and even defend themselves against these killers, headsmen, because they will not stop. This is indeed a genocide. Desmond Ukochuku from Ebweda. Good evening, Desmond. Saying that there are insiders giving information to these Fulani headers is a wrong intelligence report. This is a calculated attempt to wipe away some group of people because they want to possess the whole country. Their politicians have collected money to sell off their people. That's why they're not talking and complaining in their respective political houses. Ginika from Ijibo. What a country called Nigeria, in which Fulani headsmen are now the ones terrorizing the whole country. The so-called Reverend Father, the governor, is heartless as he could not do anything, waiting for the whole state to die finish before talking. Shinarems from Isolo. A time is coming when even the politicians will find it difficult to move around if they refuse to act now. Ajide from Ogun State. Good evening, Esther. Hi, Ajide. Okay. The president should as well visit Plateau and Niger states. These are states countless of lives have been lost. Secondly, the commission of a new INEC office in Abuja is a jamboree since the body is not truly independent. I don't blame them, but the constitution, on the other hand, the welfare of teachers and doctors are becoming extinct since these politicians have their children schooling abroad with their own abroad doctors. Brother John from Isala. Okay, this person sent a video. Sorry, I can't listen to your video. Esther, good evening. Hi, Gloria. Thank you very much. Thank you for the compliment. Esther, good evening, and also the guests in the house. Esther, there's an adage that says, if you don't know where you are going, people who have where they are going will carry you where they are going. Esther, during Jonathan's government, Nigerians didn't know where they were going, and APC came and carried them where they want to go. All we are saying is all the agenda. So when we Nigerians say no APC, will drop us in our own bus stop. Uche, watching from heaven. Uche. Okay. Osi Morale, thank you so much for your message of morality. God bless you. The truth remains that if the people of Benue keep quiet over this ugly situation, the rampaging headsmen and terrorists will wipe out the entire locals and more and seize their lands. The unfortunate thing is this: after the visit of the president, the headsmen or terrorists will still attack and perhaps cause mayhem much more than before. I am sad. Dr. Prince from Ojalaba, Lagos. Thank you, Dr. Prince, for your message. Esther, why can't you say turn off your radio instead of turn down the volume? Someone said, do you know how loud the radio sound is? Okay, thank you very much. God bless you. So you've heard. So if you're calling, please turn off your radio. Don't even turn it down. You heard what the listener sent to me. So we're in agreement. Good evening, my beautiful presenter and your guest. I have the Benue people to blame. How many times or many deaths of Benue people before they will stand up to defend themselves, property and land? The Fulanis will continue to come to kill them if they reduce their numbers. They, the Fulanis, will take over their lands. Checkwords from Ojo Road. The government of Benue should know that those behind the killing because of intelligence, DSS and military barracks over, no one should... Okay, I don't understand what you're writing. Good evening, Esther and your guest, Ekundai. Good evening. My opinion, I think the governor, the senator, House of Rep, and all the government officers are involved in this killing. One man called yesterday and said their government are behind this problem. Michael from Aswani. Good evening, Esther. I greet Ms. Salawa Ekundai. My name is Paul. It's high time people protect their land since life and property, particularly in Benue, are not secure under the government. People should get arms, guns, cutlass, and juju to protect their land. Headsmen terrorists cannot navigate their villages better than the indigenous people. Good evening, Esther. Peter Obi has condemned the attack in Enugu. According to his statement, he said his heart is broken about it. Emeka from Abisa. All right, from Robert. Esther, could you believe that Benue people are still standing on Tinubu's mandate? On his mandate, they stand, oh. So I wish them well. May God console the family of the dead. Good evening, VOP. Esther, visitation of the president to Benue State does not change anything. Will that bring back the lost lives as government failed in their primary assignment, which is saving lives and property? That proves incompetence of the sitting leadership of the nation. For Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's issue, when did DSS office become caught sitting? Why is this APC government forming laws to save their wickedness against the people? The DSS should be engaged for the protection of lives other than treating lives of innocent Nigerians. CYC Honesty from Isala. Good evening, Esther. Okay, good evening to you and guest. Abacha said, if insurgency lasts 24 hours, the government knows about it. Look at the insecurity in the land. If you protest, the government will quickly send police, army and Agbaris to stop your protest. Whereas you have bandits, Fulani headsmen killing people in Plateau, Ebonyi, Edo, Benue, Ondo. You can't see such insecurity. You can't see such security to protect the people. That means government is complicit and it doesn't have the political will. Because of 2027 elections, political gain. How can they kill 200 people in a fell swoop? Also, police or army will capture the Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen and bandits. The government will say they have repented and they'll put them back to the society. You can see no political will to fight insecurity. How will there be peace without justice? It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. Good evening, Esther and Mr. Lawal. Great job. Please, Esther, is Nigeria a democratic country? I want to know because I have forgotten. If your answer is yes, now tell me, how can we be a democratic country while a president is declaring instead of emergency in a peaceful state that has no violence or war going on and putting an administrator to govern a democratic state? The president only knows politics and lacks the knowledge of governance. I wonder how election will take place in Benue. We're only useful during election, and after election will become useless and worthless, worthy to be killed by Fulani headsmen. It's a pity. KK Gold. KK Gold, I saw your message. Thank you very much for your happy birthday message.
That's something.
Yeah?
Somebody said that, like what that guy said, they will now go and vote him. You'll be surprised that they will tell you that the number of voters in Benue State was is very high. By the time the result is out, you'll be surprised. You'll be one like telling me that Benue has Borno has such a number of voters. Imagine. The next thing they will tell you that it's the same thing with Benue, that it's a large number of people voted. You'll be wondering, where did they come from?
All right. Let me read out your SMSs. Good evening to everyone in the house. This is Ferguson from Ikoton. The killing in the north started when the Obasanjo regime allowed Sharia law in the north, which graduated to Boko Haram and now banditry and terrorism. Jonathan alarmed that there was Boko Haram in his government. The DSS did nothing. Buhari came on board and did nothing. Now Tinubu called on the government of Benue to negotiate. Is it not common sense to see or know that the north is their own problem? Okay. This person says, good evening, Esther. There is an agenda to depopulate certain parts of Nigeria and populate them with Fulanis. The emirs know about this. The Sultan do too. The president knows about it too. Samuel from Gwagada. Oh, wow. Good evening, everyone in the house. My name is Grippy from United Oshodi. The thing I know about Nigerian people is that they don't want to die for something. If we have it in mind that we will die anytime, that is when Nigeria will move front. Who won't die? Walai. Good evening, VAP. I don't drop my new hit single. Guy. Okay, why are the Arawas not saying anything? Abibe will no be North Central. That one mourns me, yo. See what happened in Uromi. I never believed that we had a lot of Arawas on social media. Came out calling out the government of the day and everything. Now those voices are quiet. Okay, Esther, well done. Mr. Akunda, God bless you both tonight. I wonder if there's any country again we have. I'm tired of this bad news every day in this country. Let everyone learn how to protect themselves. Secondly, if we can use a mobile phone and do banking transactions, why can't we also use mobile phone and cast selection? I bet the government of this day to let us vote free and fair and see either we get voted from anyone. Okay. Good evening, VOP. It's only in a corrupt and undemocratic community that an individual will confidently buy presidential power to himself with no one to challenge him. Hashtag royal apps. Esther. My problem is the conspiracy of silence by Northerners regarding the Benue killings. I remember how the North reacted when some people who said they were hunters were killed in Edo State. Every Northerner was ranting. Now that their terrorist Fulani militias wreaking havoc on Benue, they have all chosen to remain silent. From Elder Leo from K2. Even me too. I shock how they all went quiet all of a sudden. No. They use padlock their mouth. Their social media handle know they are active anymore.
Even society, the Senate, look at the Senate.
It's polarized, sincerely polarized.
Even if the Senate president gathers some senators and say they want to go to that Benue and see what is going on there it's not bad.
How will you just keep quiet over things like this? That means all this conspiracy theories is basically what it is. Esther, our government wants to turn Nigeria to a Muslim country. Well, with the way it's going, this, like I said, the speculation seems to be ringing true. Because I don't understand why the nonchalancy or slow method.
And they just look at it as if maybe it's chickens that died. That's the way they live. Up to the federal, the state, or the keep, politics. They just keep quiet as if it's not important. Like it's not important to them.
I don't know. All right. Good evening, Esther. It is only God that will reward you. Reward Mr. Akunda and Barrister Darlington. Our corrupt politicians will not see people like you to give national awards for the amazing sensitization work you're doing. I'm begging for an opportunity to shake Barrister Darlington and Mr. Akunda. However, I have found solace in the fact that Almighty God has already rewarded the three of you. Thank you very much. Good evening, Esther. Good evening to you too. What's happening now have been revealed before now. Do you remember a one-time retired DSS personnel, but he's now late, that said things concerning those behind insecurity and their motives? I came from Badangri. He's referring to Obadiah. Do you remember Obadiah? He worked in the Secret Service, where he made a particular disclosure, like how they operate via national radio. It went viral at the time. Melaifa Obadiah or something. And then later we heard that he died in the hospital, that he had stroke or something. And there was no funds to treat him. You forgotten? You can't remember?
Can't.
He exposed the rot. He talked about it on radio, talked about it on television, that the DSS invited him for questioning. You've forgotten?
I think I heard about it. So
Okay.
he's dead.
He's dead. Okay,
Okay, I remember.
what's your... Esther, read my messages. I don't even know where to start from. Government should know we are not indigents. We are not fools. Samuel from Gagada said what I have been saying. What is happening is jihad, pogrom, land grabbing, ethnic cleansing, Kobokoman. Kobokoman, anybody that Benue people are not protecting themselves. Remember, soldiers ransacked their Dane guns, telling us propaganda that they will use it against themselves. Who brought terrorists 2014? Kobokoman. All right, Kobokoman, I have read your message. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good
Hello?
evening.
Yes, good evening, please. What's your name?
This is Joshua.
Joshua, what's the location, please?
What I want to say.
What's your
is-
location,
is
Joshua?
Lagos.
All right, go ahead. Hello, go ahead.
Sorry.
All right, he's not speaking. I will take one more call. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. All right. Hello, good evening. How are you? Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
My name is Godwin.
Godwin, where are you
from
calling
Molodia
from?
Papa.
All right, Godwin, please go ahead.
From Molodia Papa. See what is happening in Nigeria. Let me just tell whoever that does not know. These people are acting a script. They are acting a script. There is a grand plan to Islamize Nigeria. There is a grand plan to Islamize Nigeria. And APC is the platform they want to use to achieve that aim. If you think of what happened in Turkey, it started just like this. Nobody believed Turkey would be an Islamic country. Today, Turkey is an Islamic country. And that is what these people want to turn this country to. And moreover, any area the APC discovers that they lost election, what they do is to go and depopulate that place.
Okay.
I don't know why Nigeria can't see this thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have limited time. Hello. Good evening. Oh, wow. As I was about picking his call, he cut it off. Good evening, Madam Esther and the guest. First, I second the motion that Nigerian graduates are dangerously educated and politically dumb. It will take you off balance listening to some graduates of political science and some persons whom you expect to be within the radar or being called elite. Secondly, those in politics in other countries are first successful in their different careers, first before offering to serve in politics to benefit their country. The moment they perceive any foul play, they pack their bags and go back to their family and business. The Nigerian politicians can't resign because politics is their number one choice of career, business, job, family, and hobby. Thirdly, the Nigerian political officers can't call out the source of sponsors of the non-state actors because that's not what they were elected to do. Remember, one senator said that not too long ago. Napoleon, you said I did not read your message. Be coming down now. Plenty message day for here. Lekon from Lagos. Lekon, I think I read one of your messages. This second one where you send it long ago. What's your name? You didn't put your name. Good evening. We have been saying it all this while. No response. Please let everybody go their own way. This is the way out. You don't put your name. Why now? They put name. Chijioke, Esther, truth be told, politicians know exactly what is happening with the killings and terrorism in Nigeria, but decided to be cosmetic. Obadiah Melafia and Nnamdi Kanu saw the happening of today and spoke out. Where are they today? Will Tinubu tell Benue people he's not aware of 400 terrorism sponsors' names, UAE, Buhari, and Malami, which have gone under? These killers can't buy AK-47 rifles or its bullets, which means they have sponsors. I find it difficult to believe that our armed forces can't eliminate these terrorists in 2 or 3 weeks, but bribe, tribe, religion, and political bias are our greatest undoing. All right, this is Maze. This is from Chijioke. Chijioke, well done. Good evening. We have been saying, okay, well done. I've read your message. Hello. Okay, Esther, truth be told, politicians know exactly what is happening from Chijioke. Walking, talking, I don't know the language that you hear, self. Yoruba, you hear Hausa, you know here Igbo, you know here Eje Ogbu from Bagada. Oh, he's speaking of walkie talkie. This is not the time for walkie talkies program now. I'll report you to him tomorrow. Good evening, Esther. Please, is this killing not affecting us as a country? If it doesn't affect the ruler who call themselves leaders, let us come together and fight for those people. That's why we are having this conversation. That's why we're having it. Ororo, I have read your message before. Chairman from Agbara, I've read your message before. This is who? From where? Ogumbi from Idimu. Good evening, VOP. The governor confirms politicians are behind the unrest in Benue State. It raises questions about the security outfit's effectiveness. However, the army chief's new strategy to engage youth this training might help address insecurity. The governor's political inexperience might be a factor in the state's challenges. Additionally, informants feeding headsmen information about the local population could be undermining security efforts. Mr. Ogumbi from Idimu. Esther, good evening, and the gentleman analyst. Late Obadiah Malaifa, former deputy governor of First Bank, wonders about the coming of Fulani headsmen and bandits. Even Nnamdi Kanu wonders. The worst part of it is that ABC government is busy talking about 2027 election and attacking oppositions. Anyway, I'm happy that after stoking fire in other people's party, they're now experiencing their own problem. We shouldn't forget that Benue is in the middle, not at the country's border. From Chief Udo. What's your final take, please? We need to wrap up.
Now, my final take is that this thing that is happening in Benue is a problem of all Nigerians. The only thing, because it's happening in Benue, it will not get to you. It's coming gradually. It was in Benue. Borno State. At a point, it came to Kaduna. Then it came to Niger State. There was a time it was in Jos Plateau. Now it's in Benue. There was a time it was in... So, there's nowhere that it will not get to anybody in this country. What is happening in Benue is just their time now. It's coming down to everybody. That's why everybody needs to stand up. Stand up and fight for the people of Benue. We must fight for their peace. We must fight for them to be able to for this nonsense to stop. So it is the duty of all Nigerians. If Pope could be speaking from far distance, and United Nations talking about it, what about Nigerians? I don't know what is wrong with us. This is our problem. This is our problem. Everybody must rise up together for this thing to stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawal Akunda. And also, my other analyst, or guest rather, via the telephone was Barrister Eze Eliche. And we want to use this medium to say thank you for providing us your own intelligence to the conversation we had. Mr. Lawal, thank you for always being present. I sincerely do appreciate you. If you do not know that, I appreciate you greatly and I admire your wealth of experience and your opportunity to be brazen and expressive. So thank you so much for coming on the program. Birthday cake.
Yeah.
You are owing me gifts, Mr. Lawal Akunda. Is it because I kept quiet?
Start with the cake.
I should
then
start
the
with
gift will come.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've wrapped up the conversation. Today's 5 minutes gone past the hour 9 o'clock. Chidera, please don't complain. We have to play our odds. Have an amazing evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.